This is ridiculous. Oops, that's the wrong thing. Yes. This is like my tower moment. For real. You can hear me now. Yay! Esther is live and in the building. Thank you, Andrew. God, you guys, you know what that was? I unplugged my overhead camera for charming, and I guess somehow my computer's routed to that camera as the mic. My Logitech camera that hangs over my charm box has become my mic, and I didn't know it. And I went and let me switch the cameras really quick. I went and I moved the computer out here because I had good light and I had this all set up on the table anyway. So I was like, oh, and I moved it all out here, and then I unplugged the camera and left it in the office. And so that's my mic, and I didn't realize it. So anyways, we're plugged in, we have sound now. We're gonna get started. Sorry about all of that. The angles are a little bit weird, but we're just concentrating solely on this pick a card. So let's get started. Please share this video out to any and every group that you can. I would greatly appreciate it. Share the correct video, the one that actually has sound. Oh, this is so my tower moment. Fuck me. All right. So excuse my language. I'm a lady. Ladies don't talk that way. Okay. So all right. So now we're cooking with gas. All right. Leave it to me. The other thing I have to say really quick before we even get started. Do you need to go out now, Tallulah? Are you serious? Okay, hold on. My dog needs to go to the backyard. 1 second. Do we need to go potty? More go outside? Yeah, you probably need to go poop. Do you have to go do lady things in the yard? Go ahead. Hi, guys. Okay, so one thing I have to say, and I'm not surprised that this isn't working, is I'm a little bit nervous about doing this pick a card. I'm not exactly sure why. I think it's because it's around love, and I just feel a little bit uptight about that. I'm not sure, so I need to shake that energy off. And let's just do this one thing, which I do for every pick a card that I do this usually off camera, but something told me to do it on camera today. So I'm gonna set my arm here. Is this pile correct and accurate for pile number 1? Thank you, stop. Is this pile correct and accurate for pile number 2? Thank you, stop. And I gotta reach around the computer, sorry guys, hold on 1 second. And is this pile correct and accurate for pile number 3? Thank you, stop. It's, all right, well that's not a great stop, but it's because my arm's slung around the computer. I think my arm's shaking a little bit. Anyway, so I feel like these piles are ready to go. I have them marked by 3 different hearts. The reason why I only chose 3 piles instead of, I was gonna originally do 4, is because we're doing this video live. So to see how these pick a cards go live, if anybody picks pile number 3, which is this pile over here, you're gonna have to sit through the entire live video to watch it. Hopefully you're watching it from YouTube, because then I rack up the hours with YouTube. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. You can support me at, oh, my dog is totally laying out. She's such a, oh, she's laying in the sun outside. You can totally follow me on Instagram at Engelgeist333, sun bunny that she is. What else? Oh, I have a new Patreon page. For those of you that are in the know, thank you for supporting me. Shout out to Fanny and Marita. They are patrons of mine. To Tammy, to Emily, to Karen. Thank you all for supporting me over at Patreon. It's a great way to support all of these sort of free services that I do for you guys, like these pick a cards and the daily forecast and all of that. There's different levels where you can subscribe. Please go over and check it out if you feel inclined. It's a great source of support for me to kind of keep doing this work. So this is your February first and ever, and hopefully there will be more to come once I get over the nerves of this. This is your first ever love charming. Do you see my cat back there? Like, he is just wanting, he's like, why does the dog get to go out and I don't? Because you'll end up dead, cat. You're too much of a chicken. All right, so we have 3 different piles here, and I'm going to point them out. I'm going to Vanna White for you. And you know, we have somebody here in the audience who's actually a cousin to Vanna White. I'm not going to say who. They can out themselves if they want, but they are a cousin to Vanna White. So I'm going to use all of my Showcase Showdown skills right now to impress them and see if I live up to, because they have, you know, essentially Vanna White blood in their body, or something close to it. So it's pretty. Hey, Kate Nwabi, welcome. This is a pick a card for February love. Okay, so this is like your Valentine's Day pick a card. So what you guys want to do is take a couple deep breaths and check in with your intuition and feel the pile that you are most drawn to. I'm going to tell you, this is pile number 1. This is a rose quartz. This is pile number 2. The stone is amethyst. And this is pile number 3. This is pyrite. Okay? So we're going to get started here. For those of you that you know, might want to watch this tape so that you can take more time, go right ahead. You can also be a total love pig and pick more than one pile if you want. There might be messages in all of these piles for some of you. I don't know. But, you know, there should be, I shouldn't call you a love pig. You know, love is something that should come and flow to us abundantly. We should never have any shame or any worry about ever projecting too much love nor taking too much love. We just always want to be giving what we're getting, right? That's the idea with the concept of love, is we share it freely, and then we should be able to have as much of it as we can, you know, fill ourselves up with. Does that make sense? Okay, so welcome to February, guys. And here we go. So I'm going to open up pile number 1, which is the rose quartz. And my cat is going to claw at the window in the background. But that's always a good omen. So here's your rose quartz, guys. Just so you can see it. I'm a little nervous. What I want to say about this is rose quartz is generally associated with the heart chakra. So I'm going to say that this group, right out of the gate, is sort of the lovers. And not that there's, you know, all of these are heart-centered, but this is definitely my middle of the body heart chakra people. You guys are going to be probably my more sensitive beings, probably the more just, you know, apt to feel things emotionally, apt to feel things deeply, apt to connect to people at a deeper level than, say, you know, what they maybe get connected back to, if that makes sense. Like, that's what I'm feeling about from this stone and from this group. We're going to look at the cards now. All of the decks that I used, I'll have in the description box later once it's fully uploaded to YouTube, so you can check that out. But let's start with your first card. So your first card in the realm of love is Believe and Succeed. And so I like this card. It is a boat, it appears to be. This is a deck that I'm not super familiar with, so we're working with it here. But what I want to say in regards to love with this group is you guys may... This heart-centered sort of rose quartz says to me that you guys have probably been a little bit too vulnerable in relationships in the past, right? You've probably made yourself a little bit too accessible, or maybe been hurt by people that took you for granted, or maybe weren't necessarily giving of themselves at the same level that you were. This Believe and Succeed is your lead-in card. And what I feel like it's telling me is it's telling me to tell this group that you guys may feel as though you're heading into the dark, because do you see how this is sort of like this sunsetty thing that's happening here? But we're leading into, this boat feels like it's leading with direction. It feels like it's going towards the light, even though the rest of it might feel unknown and dark. So in areas of love, you guys might question sort of your experiences in the past, right? Or you might question your now by the experiences in your past. And what I want to say is this Believe and Succeed says to me that even though you may operate sort of without, how do I want to say this, without all the facts, you know, there is this ability to sort of, I feel like this boat is very direct and pinpointing. It's going straight across the emotional waters, straight through the darkness towards the light. what you guys know to be true for you as a group, as far as love is concerned, it's very pure. This light, it's sort of the almost like the strongest aspect of your soul, is the way I want to say. And when you believe in this, or when you really come from this place, it doesn't matter what anybody says or does to you. It doesn't matter how anyone treats you. And that to me sort of is the cloudiness of this sort of sunset or this dark night sky. It's not completely pitch black, but it's sort of like, I feel like you guys have a light within you, within your heart chakra, that can guide you. And you have to trust it, you have to believe in it, and you will succeed. Okay? So I'm not going to say that you haven't maybe trusted the wrong people at times, but I think that what we need to do here for this group is understand that that belief or that trust that you've maybe given to those that don't deserve it in the past isn't necessarily a downfall or a mistake. It's actually something that is sort of honorable and beautiful about this group, and that you guys need to shift your perception around that willingness to trust, that willingness to love freely, and understand that that's sort of a superpower. That's sort of a guiding light that can guide you through, say, treacherous waters or dark night skies. And you can find success. This group can find love, even though maybe your history has been like the idea that I'm getting with this card and with this group and with this stone is that I feel like you guys you almost bash yourself for loving too much or being too available. You make yourself super available, and you come from a place of love, and then somebody, whoever you're dating or whoever you're with, they may take advantage, or they may do something that ends up hurting you, or maybe you stay too long in a situation that isn't serving you. But I think that part of that, I'm not saying to stay in situations that don't serve you, but I want you to not blame yourself for it anymore. That's what this believe and succeed is about. This is about they don't get to mistreat you, and then you have to second guess your light. Okay? I hope that makes sense. Now, the next card for you guys is vision. Excuse me, I don't want to bump the computer. This says, no matter what, you see the bigger picture of a loving, just universe. All right, guys, I didn't pick out these cards. So I just feel like that's really beautiful. Like I said, this group really operates from this kind of like, I feel like there's a childlike innocence to this stone, right? I feel like there's an open heart here, there's a vulnerability, and there is a vision, there is a clarity, there is a belief, there's a strength, there is a light within this group that you guys need to acknowledge and embrace. I think that maybe it's not sort of the similar light or the same light that everybody else runs on, guys. And this is what makes you beautiful, right? This is what makes you sort of available and present. If there was more people like this group in the world, I feel like we would be a much more sort of peaceful place. So this idea of vision is, again, to me, it ties into this idea of believing and succeeding. We need to have that vision within our mind and within our hearts, and sort of settle that vision and place ourselves first in it. And then we can kind of see that light, understand that light, and allow that light that is within us to guide us into the relationship that we're looking for. But we have to honor that aspect of ourselves first. That can't be looked at as a detriment or as a weakness or a vulnerability. It's not. It's your strength, really. It is your vision. It is your ability to succeed, but you need to believe in it. All right, so the next card is from the Whispers of Love. And I have unboxings for this deck that I just put up here. So this says, consider your foundation. This is, look at how committed you are to love. So when I look at this card, I think about this. Consider your foundation to me makes me think about sort of being a little bit more grounded for this group. This would be sort of a little bit of an idea of grounding some of your love, grounding some of your emotions, keeping them in line with this idea of this vision card, right? This idea of believing in yourself and succeeding, but also keeping it sort of your foundation really grounded in how committed are you, How serious are you? And when I'm saying this about being committed for this group, what I mean is just like, I feel like this is the group that has committed to the wrong people multiple times over. And I feel like this consider your foundation is about considering yourself first, and acknowledging that, believing in that, keeping that vision clear, and then building from that place. And ask. That's where this question is how committed. Ask your look at how committed you are to love, understanding the beauty of that comes with this sort of rose quartz stone, right? That purity of heart that you guys have, that sort of ability to love so freely and give so much so. Consider that as your foundation, and then take that into account as you begin to sort of build from there, right? Remember that, like, your commitment or what you put forth is probably a little bit more than, say, the next person, or the people that you've dealt with in the past. This house here in this card also makes me feel like there's this beautiful opportunity here to build a really gorgeous sort of like house of love, or life filled with love. And that's what it's talking about too, about considering your foundation. And what I'm getting from these two cards, and actually this card too, is it looks like to me we want to take the high vision of sort of our higher mind and heart and ground that into our foundation, so that we can build this beautiful sort of fairy tale like love story. But we have to remember that we have to believe in it, and even if we don't have all of the answers, or if we don't feel as though we know the exact direction to go, we will be able to figure it out as long as we follow the light of our heart. All right? The last card for you guys is from the You Are Enough deck, and I wanted to end with this deck because I felt like every love sort of pick a card is always focused on the other party, the other component in the relationship. And I really believe that we don't explore or find true love until we really love ourselves, right? Or we're really at our best and able to give the most and receive the most once we have that within ourselves. So I wanted to have a card bring it back to sort of a focus on whoever was actually picking the piles. So this one here has these beautiful flamingo feathers, right? And this says, you are special. These are a little bit long, so I'm going to read it to you. Special. Hello, you exceptionally amazing being. Has anyone told you how uniquely beautiful you are? Well, now they have, and you deserve to stand out among the rest. You are special because there is no other person like you. When you smile, you radiate your own light, exuding that magnificent energy. Continue to take time to set yourself apart from others. Never allow yourself to fit in the box that some try to place you in. Always remember, you are special and deserve to stand apart from the others. Okay, so this is beautiful. I think that, like I said, you guys, you love at a level that this group loves at a level that's probably misunderstood a lot of the time. Probably people can't meet you at this level. I want you guys to understand that to create the love that you want, as we're in February, we're getting ready to head into spring, Valentine's is this month, it's the 2020, it's the 0202 2020 portal. We can manifest the shit out of stuff right now. We need to manifest this vision and this idea of how successful we are, that we're not limiting ourselves by loving freely. We need to understand that not everybody can meet us at our level of love, and that's what makes us exceptional. We need to understand that our light, the light of our heart, is actually the truest form of, strength that we have, right? And so for this group, I think that this, especially with this last card that says you are special, I really believe that you can have exactly what you want in love, but you really need to honor that within yourself first. Then take that belief in yourself and take it through, sort of through the darkness, following the light, finding that vision, right? Grounding that vision into your foundation and beginning to build from there, knowing that you are extremely special and that the level and the amount of love that you give is beyond compare. It's a gift. It's not a weakness. It's a blessing. It's not a mistake. Because others haven't seen it, validated it or treated it correctly does not mean that it is anything to judge yourself or limit yourself or feel bad about. Rearrange your relationship to yourself and begin to believe in it, and you will succeed. So this is your February love reading, guys. I hope that those of you that chose this pile it resonates with. Please leave me comments, or I know that you guys are commenting right now, but I'm busy looking at the cards and tying everything together. And of course, now the dog wants to come in. 1 second, I'll let you guys look at these cards, and I'm going to bring the dog in. Give me 1 moment. Come on, little girl. You ready? Come in. Come on, baby. You done sunbathing? Okay, so that is my rose quartz babies. I hope you guys have a wonderful February. I hope you enjoyed this. If you liked it and it resonated, let me know in the comments once the video is fully uploaded to YouTube. I will continue to do more, even though this sort of stuff makes me a little bit nervous. All right, so I'm going to pull down these cards. Remember that you're special. Keep your vision and ground it, and stay true to yourself above and beyond anything else. Okay, guys? That is your reading for today for my group 1. Now, on to group 2. Group 2, you guys, all right, so I should have done this the other way around now that I think about it, but group 2, you guys are my amethyst crystal. So I'm going to say right out of the gate that you guys, there's this vibe that I'm getting from this amethyst. First off, amethyst deals with the third eye, right? It's sort of the 6th chakra. It's definitely psychic. It's definitely inner knowing, intuition, that sort of a thing. I'm going to say that I feel like you guys are a little bit, where these guys are more heart-centered, you guys might be a little bit more cerebral or mind-centered. You're also intuitive, though. There's a definite intuition here. There's a definite sort of tapping in or conversing with yourself. I do get a feeling, and this is not necessarily a trait of amethyst, but what I'm getting a feeling with this group as I'm looking at it is that these might be a little bit the overthinkers, a little bit like a little too in your head at times. And the reason why I say this, and this is just coming up right now as I'm looking at this amethyst, is all of these beautiful terminated points on here, to me, they're giving me a little bit of jaggedness. To me, they're feeling a little bit like it's not smooth like, say, this heart is, right? To me, this feels a little bit like we have the ups and downs of the mind to contend with. We do tap into our intuition. We do look at things from a more maybe intuitive or clairvoyant space. We might be like reading between the lines a lot, but I also think that some of the people in this group might overthink things a little bit. I don't mean that in a bad way. It just feels like this is my cerebral group, where this would be my more emotional group. This is my more mental group, okay? So let's look at your cards. Open up, bitches! All right, so I'm gonna say this. I love this card. It says open up. And I feel like when I'm talking about y'all being like in your head and a little bit cerebral, maybe a little bit psychic, a little bit like the conversations are going off on you guys. Like when I'm looking at this thing, all of these terminated bounces, like these terminated ends, feel like the energy is bouncing up and down to me, right? Like, why didn't he call? I don't know. What did I do wrong? Oh my God. Da, 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 da. Like it just feels like all these different thoughts popping off. Are you listening to your intuition? Yes, at times. And sometimes your intuition can come in strong and clear and you can feel like clarity. But I also think that you're always sort of maybe playing a devil's advocate or whatever. This open up says to me that it's a little bit about, first off, we have the number 4. To me, this is, you guys are a fairly stable lot. Like this 4, leading with this 4 says to me that you guys tend to want to keep things real smooth, like real easy, grounded. I don't want to have to think too much because I already know that I do have a tendency to be in my head, right? So this 4 says to me, as I'm looking at it, it feels like this group prefers and likes stability in relationships or in love. You seek that out. This open up to me is a little bit about allowing people in, allowing somebody else in. I love that she has this light of knowing up above the top of her head. To me, this is about also the cerebralness that I feel in this stone. It's like we're all in this upper part of the chakras kind of trying to figure shit out and understand. You know, like I would be willing to bet that this group is the group that you guys spend trying to stay 2 steps ahead of whoever you're partnered with. right? That you're trying to figure out what your partner's going to do next before they do it so that you can have your move set in place. A lot of Virgos in this group, probably. Like psychic Virgos running around. But anyways, I'm going to say, y'all want to open up and kind of trust yourself and trust. Like, I almost feel like there is this sort of need for control here with her, and there is this need for stability, and some of that needs to be let go of. Some of that we need to understand that we're safe, is what I'm feeling as I'm looking at this card. And I feel like she needs to, this group, you're very good at controlling stuff, keeping things sort of together mentally. And so I think that there needs to be an awareness and an acknowledgement of that. And in doing that, like with the first group, when I was saying to them that they need to acknowledge their vulnerability or their ability to love as an asset versus a detriment, this would be your asset. Is even though you can overthink and maybe second guess things or self-doubt things, you need to understand that you guys are great thinkers, you're highly psychic, you're highly intuitive. Your intuition, if you listen to it, maybe in the past you haven't always listened to it, and that's sort of maybe where you've a little bit withdrawn or you keep yourself pulled back. It's okay, open up and allow yourself to sort of center in. This is sort of your power center, right? That's these upper chakras, this knowing, this don't like, how do I want to say this? Actually, you know what this is turning into? I haven't gotten to the third pile yet, but I'll explain it at the end. But I think that these readings are sort of telling me to tell you what your assets are, so as you embrace them, you're able to sort of lead with those assets going into relationships or finding love or finding the love that you seek. For this group, I feel like this is about the sort of the mental realm, the intuitive realm, the brain, all of the workings of the mind and the upper chakras, embracing those and understanding that's where your strength and everything lies. But if you shut that off or you keep that sort of closed off in an effort to keep stability in your life, you're kind of limiting yourself. You're not able to kind of bring about the love that you want. I'm even looking at this sort of shadow that is emanating from around her upper chakras here, from like the fourth up. And so to me, it's like she's emanating this signal, but it's kind of like she's in this stance of, don't come any closer, but we need to let people in if we want that love. Now, the next card, action. Action! You have the courage to express the unique, loving colors of your soul. You have the courage to express the unique, loving colors of your soul. I did read that correctly. Sorry, my eyes. This action to me is, again, it speaks to the idea of the action of opening up, of allowing yourself to maybe drop down out of your brain and into your heart and share that a little bit more. Sharing this unique sort of beauty that is you. You have this capacity to sort of tap in and tune in and maybe sometimes overtune, right, with your thoughts. But if you sort of allow that to relax and open up and embrace that and relax, like sort of put a more easeful energy around that and share that, people will be able to appreciate that about you. And with this 4 up here, you guys are great instigators or creators of stability. So I think that that's actually something that works in your favor. But you have to sort of, instead of thinking about it, actually do it. Let them in. All right, the next card. Do something for someone, it says. Give your attention to another. And look at, I'm just going to show you guys the art of this card because it's kind of tying into what I've been saying about this group. Look at all of these flowers coming off of her head. She's taking care of this bunny, and there's this beautiful deer, and there's even a squirrel like sitting on her shoulder. There's a field mouse. But this to me seems like all the activity is up here around the brain, up here in the head, the 6th chakra, the 7th chakra. And so I think that this speaks to that idea that let's come down out of our head and drop it down into our heart and allow ourselves to sort of do something for someone. I'm not saying that this group doesn't do things for other people, but I think that when you actually do things for other people, you're allowing yourself to open up, and you're allowing the action of this idea of having the courage to express your unique loving colors of your soul, right? So it's sort of like allowing them to see a little bit more about you instead of overthinking it, worrying. Like, I feel like this group would be the type that, like, oh, should I do that? I don't know. What is he going to think if I do that? Will he think I'm a freak? Will he think I'm a stalker? Oh my God. And it's like, let's not do that. Let's trust the intuition that is in this amethyst. Let's trust the beauty and the strength that we have in our mind and the stability that we can create and we have created in the past. I kind of feel like this group sort of hides a little bit, where like maybe this group, the group number one, was a little bit too open, or a little bit like, not too open, I don't believe that, but where they're a little bit vulnerable. This group to me feels more withdrawn, right? A little less apt to kind of come out from behind the wall, so to speak. And that's what this call to action is it's time to come out from behind the wall and let people see you. All right, and then this last card is from the You Are Enough deck. I'm not sure what type of feather this is. It's an absolutely gorgeous feather. I love the color of it. It says, you are perfect. What do you love about you? Do you look at your flaws and become judgmental? Do you glance at them and remind yourself that they are what makes you utterly unique? The most amazing thing about each one of us is that our uniqueness sets us apart from one another. Perfection is an illusion because there is nothing that is perfect in you or anyone else. It's all about falling in love with the things you see as imperfections and perfections, honoring them equally. So again, I'm going to go with, these are my Virgos. I really think that these are my people that are like kind of you're in your head a little bit too much. You need to relax. You've got so much going for you. Open yourself up a little bit. Do something for someone else. Take those actions to let them see the beauty that is within you. And even the stuff that's imperfect, it really is what makes you you. And so embracing that is really going to be the key to you finding sort of the love that you seek, or the connection that you want from a significant other. But you have to get willing to sort of trust yourself intuitively, because you have a ton of intuition having picked this stone, but also trusting that if you do move forward, or you do take action, or you do like sort of allow people to see maybe not only what's good about you, but also maybe what you consider to be a little bit flawed, you're going to create that action or that change that really allows you to sort of embrace yourself, right? And so I think that's the key for this group, for this February. If you want to create that love, put yourself out there. It's not going to rock your stability. It's not going to take away from whatever you worked so hard to gain, right? Okay, so that is group 2. Did you pick group 2, Nate? Are you? All right, so let me go to group 3. Thank you guys. I hope that made sense. And now for group 3. Now this group is, excuse me, this is my pyrite. This is a heavy ass stone, bitch. I just gotta say, like, this stone, oof, oof, oof. There's weight to this. It's gorgeous. It's a little bit strong, maybe a little bit hard on the outside. My group here, you all might be a little bit hard. You're not as like frenetic as group number 2 with all of their terminations and thoughts and popping. This group is more, okay, so let me show you. If this group is more the heart, which to me is the spirit, and this group is more like sort of the upper chakras of the mind, and it to me is more the mind, this group is hella the body, okay? I had to throw in a hella there because I'm from California, all right? But this is the body personified. This is the heaviest stone of the 3. It is this sort of, there's this sort of roughness to the stone, but it is, it's beautiful. It's been through a lot of experiences. So this group has been through a lot of sort of hard times, but y'all weathered it well. Like this is you guys are grounded. Y'all know. And pyrite is associated with like I want to say the 2nd and 3rd chakra. It's really cleansing for those lower chakras. So you guys probably are a little bit more sensuous, as they say. You know, you guys are working out of the 2nd and 3rd chakra. You're more into physical pleasures. You're more into decadence. I would imagine that you guys enjoy, you know, like a good meal, a good glass of wine, like To me, this could be my earth signs. I mean, I know Virgo's here, but like the criticalness of this made me think of Virgo a little bit. The overthinking made me think of Virgo a little bit. But this might be my Tauruses, my maybe my Scorpios, if I was going to go for a water sign that I kind of feel like would be here. But so let's see what your cards say. Oh, this stone is heavy, man. Okay. I also feel like I have to say this too. The pyrite to me makes me feel like y'all march to a different drummer on some level. There's like a little bit of an alien feel to this stone. I've always felt this, like it feels like a stone from another planet. I don't know why, but pyrite has always made me feel like, wait a second, especially this heart, whenever I look at it. I love this heart, but I feel like sometimes I'm like, what fucking alien planet did you come from? Like I ask this heart all the time. I don't mean it in a bad way. It just sort of feels otherworldly in a way. So I feel like you guys, this group, you might think differently a little bit. Even though you're super grounded, you might like have a little bit of a, I don't know, a starseed connection, a little bit of a different way of sort of thinking about love or being perceived, or the way you perceive love. It's a little bit, people might think you're not necessarily off, but they don't quite get you. Does that make sense? So, this is detach. Okay, what's going on here? Let's look at this for a minute. So I like that this is the 11th card, and I like that this to me is, that's a master number. And again, I'm going to tap into this really weird place of y'all have been single for a little while. And the only reason why I say this is she's coming in from the snow, and I feel like this black border is making me feel like, and detach is making me think of the death card. I feel like this group really, y'all need to let something go. That's also the weight of this stone. You guys are carried, maybe you've been through some hard stuff in relation to love or family throughout your life, and you haven't let it beat you down. You've actually let it sort of like weather you, but also sort of make you beautiful. That's the beauty of this pyrite to me. But here I feel like she's a little bit coming in out of the cold, right? We have this snow behind her, and she's walking into this new light. This is about detaching and letting go of the past, letting go of sort of whatever has haunted us or has hindered us, that we've maybe been stuck in or been trying to work through or understand. That's that marching to a different drummer that I feel like with this stone, or that sort of otherworldliness to this stone. You may not necessarily always perceive things the way others do, and so you've been sort of confused by that or misunderstood. Feelings of being misunderstood feel like, I feel like that in her face. I also feel like that with this stone. But what I do want to say here, and what I think is beautiful, is that as she's coming in from the cold, and also I want to say this tree back here does also keys me into the earth energy of this pyrite and the lower chakras that this group is working from. This tree sort of, and the snow is the only thing. The other two cards didn't really have a, like this had a boat with water, which is much more emotional, which is the heart. This to me is speaking to that earth energy for sure. But I want to say this about this. There's this beautiful white dove that she's releasing. And to me, this is like our own internal peace, this light that's around the dove. I don't know if you guys can, let me show you. That's really showing up. Do you see that light that's around that dove? This group is about to release that if you haven't already. And this being the number 11, I feel like there's a mastery to this lesson that you're learning in love, or that you've been learning up until this point. We're at a release point. 2020, this portal, if we want to manifest that love, we can, but we need to detach from sort of our history. What we tell ourselves is the culmination of our experience when it comes to love. We want to let that go now. We've learned what we needed to learn. We can move on. And there's an opportunity here to sort of release this beautiful bird of peace that I think is our freedom. It is the lightness of our heart. It's about, like, I feel like that's to come back to us. This heart, like I said, this stone is quite heavy, but it gleams and almost shines the brightest of the three. So we need to remember that the brightness that isn't within this pyrite is within us. And we need to set that free, right? Okay. I don't know if anybody picked this, number 3. Okay, so we have joy. You delight in the love of life and bring a spirit of fun to all that you do. So I love this card. To me, it feels like we need to detach from our past and also explore this joy. That's sort of the shimmer of the pyrite and the shine of the pyrite. There's still that heaviness there, right? But we have this ability to bring in this innate joy. And I think that as we do that, you know, like where the last group was about calling into action and forcing themselves out from behind the wall, yours is to sort of manifest that joy. It's been a long time since you've maybe felt it, right? It's her coming in from this cold past or these memories of the past. And it's time to sort of release this bird, right? And sort of embrace this joy that we can bring about. And sort of almost, I want to say like this group needs to like recalibrate the weight of their heart. It's not bad to be grounded. I think that that's a beautiful thing, but I almost feel like there's a heaviness to this pyrite that's so much more dense than these other two crystals that I feel like there's this heaviness that we need to detach and start to let that joy back in and bring that sort of spirit of fun back to all that we do. When we do that for this group, you guys will be opening yourself up to that lightness, to this beautiful like white bird and the light that it has around it. It's sort of bringing that back into our heart and into our space, and people will take notice of us, right? Now, take a chance on love. When we love, our lives are changed forever. Okay, so what I am going to say here is check this out. We've got this boat that we saw in the first card of the very first reading. To me, I don't know if y'all need to get together with some of these guys over here in the first pile, but something makes me feel like the boat references from one pile to the other say like you might do well with the grounding that we see in this pyrite and the sort of sadness that's in this pyrite, this ability to love in group one. If my group threes could find a group one person, y'all might hit it off really, really well. That's all I'm gonna say. But so this to me feels like taking a chance on love. It is a new adventure. The waters feel a little bit rocky, but there's this whole new world out here. And that's part of this joy. We need to experience the fun of it, the excitement of it. It's all an adventure, guys, right? The adventure may have sucked leading up to this point, or we might have gone through some experiences that have sort of tempered us in a way. That's this winter that we're looking at here in this card. It might have tempered us or affected us in a way, but those effects, those experiences have led us to this place where we're able to detach and we're able to like sort of gain mastery or this awareness over our hearts or ourselves and what we deserve. When we bring back this joy, we're able to sort of take this chance on love. We're able to be brave. We have to remember we have strength. This is the heaviest, densest stone here. We work from the lower chakras, right? The second and the third in this group, or that's at least the concept that I feel like with this stone. Those of you that maybe were drawn to that, I think that you guys probably run a lot through your third, which is all about sort of creation on the material plane, right? So this is about taking chance on love, which is a little bit higher up, a little bit like in the heart chakra or maybe in the upper chakras. It's about being vulnerable and the excitement of that, right? And it says when we love, our lives are changed forever. Now, I think that when I read that, I go back to this card, and I think that when you guys have loved in the past, your lives were changed in such a profound and maybe upsetting way. But you guys needed that to happen on some level so that you could understand it and bring in this joy and this sort of experience or this awareness, this releasing of this bird and this letting go and detaching from our past and bringing in this joy kind of strengthens us and makes us all the more powerful and able to love, right? I hope that makes sense to this group. I don't know. And then your last card is, ooh, and these are dark blue feathers. You are protected. Let's read it. Heartbreak, fear, betrayal, and loss can leave us feeling alone. Our fogged sight of the truth makes us believe we have no one looking out for us. Protection and help are always there without thought or question. It comes with trusting in something higher than ourselves, knowing that the divine will always be there. In return, we must take a few moments each day to say thank you. The key to protection and trusting is believing that you are deserving, that the added weight on your shoulders will soon be obsolete. Just begin to believe again. So Again, we're talking about the added weight on your shoulders. That's from these past experiences that I see in the detach card. We want to detach from those experiences and let the lightness of this dove fly forth, the light of this that we still have within us. We have this joy within us we need to acknowledge and bring forth right now, right? Because you delight in the love of life and bring a spirit of fun to all that you do. You can bring this back about, and you can take a chance on love. So love is possible for this group, even if you don't believe it, or your experiences have been, maybe a little bit dark or hard. You need to realize you are protected. I need to, I don't want to say you need, because you can do whatever you choose to do. But I feel like this group, it's about honoring what you've been through, acknowledging the strength that it took to get through it, acknowledging that you not only survived it, but you're here on the other side to live to talk about it, so to speak. There's an opportunity here for a mastery, an awareness. And I feel like with this group, from the experiences that you've maybe had, from the coldness that you've endured, from the stress or the sadness that you've endured, you have this capacity to bring forth just that much sort of joy, or the balancing of that, if you shift your attention, if you believe that you're protected, if you find the gratitude for the things that you want that you've experienced, both good and bad. When you start to live from that place, you then open up to be able to sort of ride the waves and take the chance on love. You end up being able to sort of ground this intense joy into your experience with this heavy pyrite stone. And there's a glow and I feel like that otherworldliness of this pyrite, you're bringing, how do I want to explain this? Like, the vision that I'm sort of seeing right now is that because you guys have maybe been through a lot, and that you haven't given up, and that you have been able to sort of bring this, like, harness this energy, this joy, and sort of detach yourself, master this, that experience, that sort of shift, that sort of energy or shift in perception is powerful. It sort of changes things, not only just for you personally, but for those around you, right? It's like there's something, my intuition is telling me there's something very important here for this group, that it's about sort of letting go of the past and bringing in this intense level of joy. And when you do that, people sense that from you. That's this otherworldliness, this strength of this pyrite, the heaviness of this pyrite also. It's sort of the strange otherworldly glow, right? People will notice that in you going forward, because you've been sort of to the darkest of the dark, and then you've risen to the sort of the brightest and peacefulest of the peace, right? Or the joy. But you have to trust that you're protected and be willing to take that chance. So that is your guys' forecast for February love. I hope this makes sense. Stars to earth equal rock star. Exactly. So this is getting really deep, Heidi says. I'm sorry. It's just that's what I sense for this group, but I think that this group is actually a very powerful group. I think that there's an intensity of their past experience that they're in the process of relieving themselves of. And if you continue to relieve yourself, there's a mastery that will take place that will enable you to feel this level of joy that people are going to appreciate. They won't even know consciously what it is about you that they sort of appreciate, but it's like you emanate that sort of, it's like a healing that takes place. It's like a shift. It's like a shift in consciousness. It's like an awareness of okay, I don't want that anymore. I want this. And actively taking that chance, getting in the boat, riding, knowing you're protected, living from that place of that sturdiness of this pyrite, right? That glow that comes with this pyrite, yet the heaviness, right? The groundedness of this pyrite, really owning it from the second and third chakra and going fuck no, I'm not going to do this anymore. I choose joy. I choose to take the chance because I believe I'm protected, even if my past tells me otherwise. Because my past is just that, it's my past, right? I can let go of that. She has this beautiful bird of peace, right? This dove with this light that she's like releasing from her hands. There's a new beginning here, and that new beginning is all around this joy and this opportunity. So I really think that even though this group has maybe had a rough go of it, that rough go was required so that you guys could get to this other side and experience all of this joy. And when you start to really tap into it and appreciate it, there's also an appreciation here too. Like, we have to kind of honor what we've been through and accept it, similar to what we had going on in both of these two readings. A lot of like what I see like with each three of these groups, like the similarity here is, what is it that we're holding within ourselves that is actually an asset that we've been looking at it or dealing with it as a detriment? And when we shift that, and this is palindrome day, guys, so this is the mirror looking back at us, right? So the palindrome, like, let's just use this as an example, and I could be totally incorrect on this, but today is the palindrome day that happens once every 900 years, right? Where these dates coincide 02022020, right? We are facing ourselves back in the mirror in each of these groups. And are we looking at ourselves from a place of lack? Are we in this group number one and looking at ourselves as if our vulnerability or our ability to love, our ability to become too open, are we looking at that as a what's the word I want to say, as a fault, or are we embracing that as a gift? Are we looking at our ability to sort of maybe overthink things and be kind of in our brain and be these master thinkers that are really great thinkers and creators of stability? Are we going to allow that to deter us from opening up and sharing who we are and maybe some of our insecurities or our self-doubt? Right? Does that make sense? So I feel like these are things, and the same here. It's like, this group has been through heavier experiences because you guys are in your lower chakras. You're able to kind of take on those experiences, right? You're extra grounded in some ways, or you're able to deal with more harrowing stuff, but you're also able to bring in like higher levels of this joy to me. And this dove says to me that when you guys do bring it in, it's going to be fucking masterful, and it's going to have an effect. This master number here says to me that it's going to have an effect on people around you, whether you know it or not. So again, it's about embracing the parts of you that you think, the experiences that you had that maybe weren't pleasant, but they've brought you to this point, right? They've brought you to this strength of this pyrite. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. Yes, Amanda, my dog is snoring, totally snoring. So that is your, can I zoom in on the pyrite? I can hold, it does look like metal, Sean. It's like really cool. And this metal to me, this feeling of this pyrite, I absolutely love this stone. I bought this years ago at a gem fair. I love this stone. It's super heavy. It does look like metal. It looks like it's from a totally different planet. But I feel like we have our guard up. This group has their guard up. But you guys can be guarded and sort of, but you're still beautiful. There's still this glimmer. There's still this shimmer. And even with all the chunks taken out or the nicks that we've experienced throughout our experience, right, or our life, it doesn't necessarily end us. We're strong, we're weighted, we're grounded. So when we start to appreciate that and find love for each and every facet of our being, right? And that's in all of these stones, right? When we start to connect to those facets that sort of are us intrinsically within each group, that's when we start to really become more whole and more ready for the love that we seek in February or in the months beyond, right? But this is a love sort of pick a card. So this is the message for you guys seeking love. And then when we look at this, just notice this, just for like a little kind of, I don't know if it would be called a metaphor, but we have all of this going on here that we're leading with. But when we flip it over, look at how beautiful and smooth it is. Right? That's underneath the surface. So we might feel jagged and prickly and all of that, but That joy is there. And each group, like I have to say, each group has their sort of cross to bear, right? But is it really a cross to bear? Or have we been just carrying it as a cross because it's not been validated or acknowledged by the outside world in the way that we needed it to? And part of the reason for that is because it's like we need to validate it and acknowledge it and embrace it so that we can detach, or so that we can open up, or so that we can let it go, so that we can, what was the first one? It was believe and succeed, right? Believing in our heart, opening up our minds and sharing maybe what's going on in our minds and in our intuition, trusting our intuition and allowing ourselves to sort of trust that we're going to be okay, that we are creators of stability, even though we may not feel that way sometimes mentally. But these are things that are actually gifts that we've maybe been holding in our space as uh, limitations up until this point. But it's time to stop allowing the outside environment to dictate to us what are our assets and start to embrace our assets. When we embrace them, we call in different energies, we call in different people that will find appreciation for them. And with this group, my Pyrite group, y'all are going to liberate people in ways that you don't understand. That's what I feel like with this group. That's that 11 in that detached card. There's an authenticity. I mean, there's authenticity in all three groups, but there is something that's going on in that detached card. I can feel it, like the top of my head is buzzing. There's a freedom that you guys will experience as you detach, and a peace that you will release, and a joy that you will start to bring in. And from this grounded place of this Pyrite, as you bring in that joy and you fucking ground it to the planet, because y'all are good at grounding stuff and dealing with, you know, harsh whatever. When you start to bring in this intense joy, it's gonna like sort of set a different tone. That's how I feel. I know that sounds a little bit far out there, but, and this might be that otherworldliness of this stone that I'm feeling like, you know, this marching to the different drummer kind of thing. And I love this. It says, just begin to believe again. The key to protection and trusting is believing that you are deserving, that the added weight on your shoulders will soon be obsolete. Just begin to believe again. All right, you guys. So this is your forecast for love for February. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please give the video a like, give it a share it out. If you guys enjoyed this or you think the message needs to be shared with your friends, please share it on your own pages, share it to any groups. Help me to get the word out for February. I'd love to see this video get a lot of views before Valentine's Day. It'll hopefully help other people that might resonate with these groups and might need to understand that they need to embrace these aspects of themselves so that they can create that love within themselves, thus creating that outside love coming to them from the outside environment, right? Through a partner. But the whole idea here is we want to love ourselves as whole beings and then add to that with another partner, right? Or at least that's my concept of love. And I think that's my, I have to say, I think that's my trepidation for doing these love readings, is because I still feel like I'm still sort of working on appreciating myself. And so I'm okay with being single. Like, I'm okay with waiting until like the time will be right. I'll know it when it's right, right? Like, they'll show up at my door. And if they don't, then that's okay too. I still have myself to love, right? I want to see me the way my pets see me. Once I can see once I want to see me the way Gus looks at me when I've got his food bowl in my hand. Like, that's the way I want to see myself. Then I'll entertain, you know, the idea of letting somebody else in. But you see, by that point, I really believe that it's not going to be dependent on somebody else, and they're just going to find their way to me, and it'll be okay. But that's how I see things. That's what I intuitively feel to be true. Thank you, Rose. So you guys, this is your Valentine's love reading. I'm going to mention this while I have you guys watching, and for anybody that also watches this video. On Patreon, And I don't want to harp on the Patreon too much, but for those of you that are interested, it is available. Patreon will have a monthly Cupid's reading, which will be love related over there. There will also be a monthly Archangel reading, and there will be other like free reading nights and a charm night and all of that sort of stuff over there if you're interested in subscribing. So those things will be available to you over there, and they will only be available on Patreon. So just to make you guys aware of that. Tomorrow, I think I'm going to try and do a twin flame reading and just see what comes out of that. Again, it makes me nervous because I don't want to set people up to be living for ideals that may be, you know, um, I don't want to say unobtainable because I do believe that twin flames probably exist, but I just think that it's a dangerous, I don't think that it's dangerous. I just think that it makes me nervous when people are living for such a high ideal of something and it's so dependent on someone else. And so, but I do want to do a twin flame reading just to see what happens and share my thoughts on that. You're welcome, Sherilyn. You're very, very welcome. So thank you all for tuning in. And I hope that this makes sense. And I hope that you guys, you know, got something out of it. And if you did, I might do another one, you know, sooner rather than later. All right. Thank you guys. And thank you for, and I got to go delete all of those bad soundless videos off my YouTube and everywhere else. But I will talk to you guys probably tomorrow when I shoot tomorrow's video. The twin flame video. And by the way, on Patreon, tomorrow's forecast is up. So for my Patreon subscribers, you guys can see tomorrow's forecast now. For those of you that don't, it will be available on YouTube tomorrow, like by, I don't know, 8 a.m. or so. All right, that's Central Standard Time. Okay, you guys, and if anybody is interested in a reading, a personal reading, you can feel free to contact me at the business page. Please follow me at Engelgeist333 on Instagram. And this little code here, you're welcome, Heidi. You're very welcome, Kat. This little code here gets you to all my social medias. Please cross-follow. Bye, Rose. Please cross-follow everything. Like the business page on Facebook. Go to my YouTube channel and like my YouTube channel. Do whatever you need to do. All right, you guys, have a great day. And go out into your February and fall in love. All right, or deepen the love that you already have, both for yourself and those that are you know, important to you. All right, take care. Bye-bye.